What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Celio's Network. Today I'm doing my first Ultra Prism deck profile. The deck I chose to start this off with is Glaceon GX, Zoroark GX, since this is getting a lot of hype and I figured that's what a lot of people want to see coverage on. So this is the Glaceon Zoroark GX deck I have been testing since yesterday when the set went live on PTCG Go. I put in a little more than 10 games with it so far, so I'm trying to test out a few decks, but this deck, like I said, has a lot of hype, so I put in a little more than 10 games, made some tweaks, so this is not the most optimal list. Like I said, the sets just came out, so I did a little bit of testing and tinkering around with it, and I really like how this list is running. So yeah, let's get into the deck profile. So we're starting out with 4 Eevee, Energy Evolution. So when you attach a basic energy from your hand, which will be water in this deck, you can search for a Pokemon that evolves from this Pokemon that is the same type of that energy card. So when you attach a water energy to Eevee, you can search out your Glaceon and evolve it instantly. And here's Glaceon GX, the star of Ultra Prism, it seems. This is what everyone's talking about. Its ability, Freezing Gaze, is as long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, your opponent's Pokemon GX and EX in play in their hand and discard pile have no abilities except for Freezing Gaze. So this is an ability lock Pokemon. All of your opponent's EX and GX Pokemon, so notably your opponent's Zoroark GXs and your opponent's Tapu Lele GXs don't have abilities. Glaceon also has 200 HP, which is pretty nice. Frost Bullet for a water and a DCE does 90 damage and 30 to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon, and Polar Spear GX, water and DCE does 50 times the amount of it does 50 damage for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. So Frost Bullet sets up Polar Spear really nicely. You can hit with 90, 30 to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon, and then you can later hit that benched Pokemon that you did 30 to with a Polar Spear with a Choice Band attached for 180 damage. If that Pokemon was a 210 HP Pokemon like Golisopod or Zoroark GX. So Polar Spear has hits really good numbers off of just one Frost Bullet being hit on a benched Pokemon. So next we have our also I want to note that we're playing 3 Glaceon GX and not 4. Because we're searching them out with the Energy Evolution Eevee. And I don't think you really need 4 in the deck because of that. You want to be locking your opponent and having Glaceon GXs active, but if your opponent knocks out 3 Glaceon GX, they won the game anyway. If one's prize, it's not a big deal. Like I said, you're getting them out easily with the Eevee Energy Evolution. A 4th Glaceon GX just kind of clogs up your hand sometimes. So next we have 4 Zorua with Ram. Nothing really notable to say about this. You can use Ram for a DCE, and it has 1 retreat cost. Next we have 4 Zoroark GX. I don't have 4 copies of the same art, but we have 4 Zoroark GX, so this card is one of the best we have in standard format. Since it came out in Shining Legends, it's been really popular, really powerful, and it's easy to see why. So 210 HP on a stage 1, above average HP. Its ability Trade is when you discard a card from your hand, you may draw 2 cards. So if you're newer to the game, you might not already know about this card, but if you've been playing for a while, since this card came out at least, you know what it does. The Trade is just so good. You discard a card and draw 2, and you can be drawing 2 cards, 4 cards, 6 cards, 8 cards, depending on how many Zoroarks you have out. That's how many trades you can use a turn. Riot Speeding does 20 damage for each of your Pokemon in play, so it does 120 if you have a full bench. And Trickster GX we won't be using in this deck since we don't run Dark Energy. Then we have one Tapu Koko. I like it for its free retreat in here, and it's not a bad attacker if you ever need to clean up something on the bench maybe and you don't have a Glaceon, or you need to set up some knockouts for later. The free retreat is just really nice since you want to be able to go turn 1 energy evolution on your Eevee and lock your opponent with a Glaceon. If you start Tapu Koko, that's really cool. And then 2 Tapu Lele. So we have a lot of supporters in this deck, and we also have draw power with Zoroark. I think a lot of decks are going to be going down to 2 Tapu Leles with higher supporter counts because of Glaceon GX, and then we'll see if that sticks around, if Glaceon GX's popularity, if it lives up to the hype, if we see a lot of people playing it. So 2 Lele, and that's it for the Pokemon. So this deck, I do want to say as well, I think there's 2 ways to build Zoroark GX, Glaceon GX. I'm building this a little more towards disruption. I'm not using Aqua Patches. I don't think they're needed. I think they can be nice sometimes. I think they could also be overkill sometimes. I am also going to be testing out a version with Aqua Patches, but this is the version I'm really liking right now. So let's go into the items. We have 2 Enhanced Hammer, just like we've been seeing in a lot of Zoroark and then X Stage 1 decks. Enhanced Hammer is really good because so many decks are using DCE. So we're playing 2 of that. We're playing 1 Field Blower, kind of just, we don't play a stadium of our own, so maybe if a stadium's really helping our opponent, or if we come across the Garbotoxin, we're going to want to get rid of their Float Stone. And we are playing 4 Puzzle of Time, so if we ever need another Field Blower, we can just grab it back. So I'm trying out 1 Pal Pad, and I'm really liking this. So Pal Pad is shuffle 2 supporter cards from your discard pile into your deck. This can give you more resources, and it can allow you to use your Puzzle of Time on non-supporters. So if you Pal Pad a Guzma and an Acerola back into your deck, you can draw into that with trade instead of having to use your Puzzle of Times to get back supporters. And then here are our 4 Puzzle of Time. If you play 1, look at the top 3 cards of your deck and put them back in any order. If you play 2 Puzzle of Time, put 2 cards from your discard pile into your hand. Puzzle of Time has gotten so much better just because you have Zoroark GX in the format now, and you can trade into those. If you have 1 puzzle, you can just keep trading until you hit another puzzle. So red card. Red card is not something we see in Standard a lot, and it wasn't something we saw in Expanded a lot either until Dallas. In Dallas, people were playing red card in their Lon Zoroark decks, so you could Hex Maniac and red card your opponent, or red card and then Getsus. We're doing something similar here in that we can lock our opponent out of abilities, or at least out of GX and EX abilities with Glaceon, just by Glaceon being in the active. And we can use red card and maybe an Enhanced Hammer to further disrupt our opponent. And red card plus ability lock wasn't a reliable option that we had, or it wasn't a very viable option that we had in Standard prior to Glaceon coming out, because if we were using Garbotoxin to block all of abilities and then red card, we don't have a good way to draw into red card in a Garbotoxin deck or to get it back. But here we're playing Zoroark GX and Puzzle of Times, so we can use red card multiple times or get it back, or try to dig a little deeper to hit it when it's a really good turn to play it. So red card shuffles your opponent's hand into his or her deck, and then they draw 4 cards. So you can shuffle a big hand that they have. Maybe they got a turn of trades off. They Guzma'd your Glaceon out of the active. You can red card all those cards away. They draw 4 and then lock them again by bringing up a Glaceon GX. And this has been working for me really well in testing. Next, we have 4 Ultra Ball, pretty standard, just to get your Pokemon when you need them. 2 Acerola. If I wasn't playing Pal Pad, this would probably be 3, but I dropped Guzma down to 3 and Acerola down to 2, and put in a Pal Pad to get them back. 3 Bridget. You really want to hit the turn 1 Bridget, either with Lele or just having Bridget in your hand. And it's better to just have Bridget in your hand. And it's also now even better to just have Bridget in your hand because of opposing Glaceon GXs. They might be stopping your Tapu Leles from working. So yeah, 3 Bridget to search out maybe an Eevee and 2 Zorua, or if you started one of them, just 3 Zorua, 2 Eevee, 1 Zorua. Get 3 basic Pokemon down to the bench from your deck. Next is our new supporter card from Ultra Prism, Cynthia. Shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw 6 cards. So this is a really good shuffle draw. We haven't had this since Professor Oak's New Theory. I'm really stoked on Cynthia being in the format. It's a great card, and it allows us to have more variety than just N and Professor Sycamore. Next, we have 3 Guzma. Switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active Pokemon. If you do, switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. So it's just the gusting effect, and you get to switch your Pokemon as well. Excuse me. 1 Mallow. Search your deck for 2 cards, shuffle your deck, then put those cards on top of it in any order. So this works beautifully with this disruption kind of build that I'm working on here. So you can Mallow, let's say, a red card and an enhanced hammer to the top of your deck, trade for them, red card your opponent's hand, enhanced hammer one of their special energies, get Glaceon into the active, and just really mess up your opponent's game plan. Mallow's great for getting anything, really. You can get a DCE, a puzzle, whenever you need it. It's just so good with Zoroark GX to get any 2 cards to the top of your deck, and then trade away to draw into them. So, we're playing 2 N still. I might cut the Cynthia or N down to 1, but I really like to have N there just in case your opponent did something like Big Wheel GX or Algorithm or anything, or Beacon. Like, anytime you want to shuffle your opponent's hand into your deck and you can reliably search out N with Tapu Lele, and you also need to draw cards. So that's why I have this 2-2 split of N Cynthia. But I'm liking it so far. If I really need another spot in the deck for something, maybe cut a Cynthia. Then we have 1 Professor Sycamore. Discard your hand, draw 7. In Zoroark GX decks, a lot of times you'll have really large hands, so you don't want to discard your hand and draw 7. So we have 1 in case you do need to refresh to a new hand of 7. But we have Cynthia and N as our other draw supporters. And then we have 2 Choice Band and 2 Float Stone. A 3rd Choice Band would be really nice, but I'm not sure what I want to cut. And if I wasn't playing the Tapu Koko with Free Retreat, I would be playing 3 Float Stone. But since I'm playing Tapu Koko, I'm playing 2 Float Stone. I might take out Koko for a 3rd Float Stone. I don't know, but I do like having Koko there. And then we have 4 DCE and 7 Water Energy, so we can try to hit that Water Energy as often as possible with our Eevee. So that is Glaceon Zoroark GX, guys. This deck has been a lot of fun to play so far, and it's working pretty well. Like I said, I'm going for a little more disruption with that red card, a little more resource management with the Pal Pad, but go ahead and try, maybe going for, try that Aqua Patch, maybe 2 or 3 Aqua Patches. Espeon EX is also a possible tech to have in here, since you have Flying Flip spreading damage, and you have Frost Bullet spreading damage. Espeon EX is definitely an option. But yeah, guys, I hope you liked this deck profile. If you did, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment if you have any questions or comments on this video. Be sure to stay tuned to the channel. I will be doing much more Ultra Prism content and Ultra Prism coverage as the days go by. Since I'm not streaming currently, since I'm on my MacBook Pro while my graphics card on my PC gets replaced, I will be uploading videos more than my schedule says. So my normal schedule is Monday, Wednesday, Friday for YouTube uploads, but I'm going to be uploading probably close to every day now that Ultra Prism is out, until I can start streaming on Twitch again on the off days of YouTube uploads. Also, be sure to check out my sponsor, Guardian Gaming, TCG.com. They have Ultra Prism codes. They have codes from all the recent sets, and once you purchase, an email is sent out right away with your codes in it. They were out of stock this morning on Ultra Prism, but they just restocked, I was told, so you should be able to go grab some Ultra Prism codes and start testing for yourself. Also, I started my Patreon the other day, so you can become a monthly patron of mine and get some cool rewards, so go ahead and check that out. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you here next time on Celio's Network.